What do the supernatural, word count, and mystery have to do with each other? They are all featured in our show. I'm your host Ilse, and together with my co-producer Hala, I bring you the latest news about ongoing and upcoming live and online writing events, books published by indie authors, hybrid authors, and small publishers, and much more. Let's dive into the news of this week. We have two writing events for you this week. The first is the Story Crafting's Writing Sessions Conference by the Weeknight Writers. This is a yearly virtual conference. You can join the next one, which is this Saturday, May 30th. This time, the conference is focused on highlighting disabled authors sharing lessons from their real lived experiences, as well as their writing careers. Weeknight Writers are thrilled to spotlight these authors and work with them to bring better disability representation and solution for disabled authors looking to get more done to publishing. A few of the topics you'll find this Saturday are accurately depicting chronic pain, what to consider when writing a disabled love interest, and avoiding cure narratives and other harmful disability tropes. The second writing event we have for you comes from the Heart Breathings community. It is Double Down Saturday. Every first Saturday of the month, you are challenged to write twice the amount of words you usually write. The next upcoming Double Down Day is on June 6th. We wish you a lot of fun if you attend these events. If you are watching this show after the events have happened, let us know your favorite moments. You can find more information for both events in the show notes below. On May 26th, Jenni released her newest book, Sage's Bluff. Sage's Bluff is a combination of cozy and traditional mystery with a splash of the supernatural. While attending a charity gala, Liz enjoys an evening with her friends. After rousing speeches are underway, the event is interrupted when their dates receive phone calls with tragic news. A young boy has been kidnapped from his family's home. The boy's parents became self-made millionaires after they sold a popular phone app developed by the father. Worried about their children's safety with their newfound wealth, the parents hired bodyguards to protect their family. Now, a decade later, their worst fears have been realized. Returning home after an evening out, they find the bodyguards beaten and their youngest son missing. At first, Liz leaves the investigation to the authorities. That all changes after A.G. Sowell comes to her office with news about the case. The family has hired a psychic to help find their son. When the detective asks for her help, Liz agrees without hesitation. Will she be exposed when Liz risks using her gifts under the nose of the SAPD and the FBI while searching for the boy? Is the psychic hired by the family another fraud? Or will Liz finally meet her first psychic? In our previous show, we told you about Starling and the Moon Blade. Have you had a chance to read that yet? What did you find most charming about the book? And did you read Time Clone's Book 2 from Brad Jackson? What would you do if you were presented with a time travel option like Zach was presented with? In our previous shows, we told you about the conclusion to the Dragon Taskers Quintet, Dragons and Dreams, co-written by Rachel D. Adams and Dawn McClellan. Today we have a very special author interview because we had the chance to sit down with both of them. We dive into co-authorship and much more. You and Dawn have two series together, I saw.
Yes. Technically.
Okay, that's interesting. So we have the Life and Loves of a Dragon and the Dragon Tasker series.
Yes.
You already say you have technically two series together. Let's talk about that first before we get into the questions. What do you mean with technically?
Well, it's all part of the same universe.
Okay.
But what happened and what is going to continue to happen is that we have stories that are continuations of this main story. And the Life and Loves of a Dragon actually are about the past. They're prequel stories.
Okay.
That we've bound together as a series because to be fair, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just starting out, and we weren't sure how to label them because you could actually read them separately. Sure, it makes more sense if you read them in order, but they could also be standalone. They're
Okay.
from different time periods in the past.
Okay. That's
Mhm.
interesting.
And then the main series is just we captured what we felt was the best portion of all of the stories to
Mhm.
explain everything. So
Okay.
this is when they all the main characters come together, and it just made sense to us that this 5-book series would be the beginning, and then
Okay.
we could go from there.
Nice. Nice.
So
That
there
sounds
may
great.
be more series to come, but that's the main series, and so we call it the Dragon Tasker universe.
Okay. So, and in the Dragon Tasker universe, you have the main series and these two prequels
Mm-hmm.
that can be read as a standalone, but that have an impact on the main series.
Yes.
Okay, perfect, perfect. You worked on those together. How is it to work on such a series and such a universe together? How does the process work, and how is it to work together? Yeah, that's it.
Go ahead.
Well, we kind of get together. One of us comes up with an idea, or we shoot it back and forth, and then we kind of build from there. But it's fun. I mean, we get to play on each other's ideas and build on each other's characters. We don't fight. We don't argue. We work really well together. So we don't have any bickering. So it's good.
Awesome, awesome. Um, Rachel, do you want to add something to that before I ask my next question?
Uh, well, I mean, to add on to it, we did this for fun for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's become just something we look forward to, and I think that makes a difference. We didn't go into this like it's a business. We went into this like it's a friendship, and we are writing partners. We're partners in crime, so to speak. So it kind of made it easier to just transition. We're still writing on the same things. So yeah,
We never stop.
we present things to each other like we just discuss them. We don't have any arguments about it because they're ideas. We
Uh-huh.
can take them or leave them. It's not a big deal for us.
Awesome, awesome. So how does that process work? Do you, I don't know, one person writes one chapter and another person writes the second chapter? Do you outline? How does that work?
No, all along we'll just have a document, and whoever came up with the idea sets the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the idea incorporates a specific character, like if I come up with an idea and it's about, say, Dante, and I run it by Dawn, and she's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, I like that. Well, it's about Dante, which is her character, so she gets to set the scene, and then we just go from there with the idea. And
Okay.
we're character driven,
Mm-hmm.
so she writes her characters and I write my characters.
Okay. And does that mean, just for my understanding, you each write your own character, you say? So does that mean that you write parts of the scene, of the chapters,
Mm-hmm.
and then you wait for the other to respond to that?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's
Used
interesting.
to that was difficult. Gosh, I remember when we had to do it by email, and I remember when we had to do it by Messenger.
Messenger.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But now with Ellipsis and Google Docs and things like that, you can both work on the same page at the same time. So it's not as difficult.
Ah, that makes
So
a huge difference.
it's kind of like uh, writing on a soap opera. They write this character and then you write this character, and then this one responds to this one, and this. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
We just
Okay.
write for our characters, and then sometimes we even write for each other's because we we know each other's characters so well that
Mhm.
we write them, and then the other one will come in and go, okay, well, we want to change this a little bit because we think it'll, it's our character. So we would tweak it just a little bit. But for the most part,
And then we
know each
just
other
tag
enough
each other with comments like, "Oh, I changed this. What do you think?"
Yeah.
In the side, so that the other person can go look at it and go, "Oh yeah, that's fine. I get that." Or we're in Discord all the time anyway, so we'll just be like, "Hey, I think I've come up with something. Tell me what you think."
Awesome. That sounds great. And how long have you been working like this, and did it always work this way, or did you develop it somehow since you started it?
We started writing, I guess, 1980 or 1998, somewhere on there. And
Wow.
we started, like she said, in groups.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just back and forth. So we'd have to wait for the other one to answer that post. And it was kind of like an email. You would have to wait for that email to come back, and then you could answer that scene.
Okay.
But you didn't really get to say, hey, I don't think this would work or this would work. You would actually have to send an email on the side to that person and let them know off to the side, hey, this won't work, or, I don't like this. Can we do something different? And you'd have to start a whole different email chain. Whereas now, like she said, it's much easier because we just write back and forth on a Word document in the Word, and we can actually write together at the same time and see when each other's adding and taking away. So there's not the holdup.
Okay. Oh, that's a nice involvement, and that also shows how you work differently now compared to the past. Also with the growing of technology, that's very interesting. Yeah, awesome. So you talked a little bit already about you having the control over your characters. When or how do you decide, say Rachel comes with a suggestion of a character of yours, Dawn, if you really don't like the suggestion, hypothetically, possibly, but if you really don't like the suggestion, how do you go about that?
I just let her know, hey, I don't think that'll work. Why don't we do this instead? Or maybe why don't we try this? We always give each other alternatives. Mm-hmm. We don't just completely nix it. We usually have an alternative. Okay. So we always come up with another option. We don't ever just shoot everything down.
Oh, that's great. And who of you comes up with the ideas of the general idea of a book or a new project? Is that something of which you say, okay, Dawn does the most comes up with the most ideas, or Rachel, or both? Or
I think we both share that. Because we just kept writing the stories as we went, and they just kept. It was almost like what she said was a soap opera. If you're familiar with those, it's like we just kept going with these characters and their lives.
I'm not quite familiar with how writing a soap opera works, so maybe you can get into that.
Like a plot to a movie, where they have to write everything out to a movie. Mm-hmm. Where we kind of start one thing and then we'll throw each other curveballs. So we come up with ideas one after another. We, not just one of us come up with them. We kind of balance each other out. So we kind of take turns pretty much on coming up with ideas. She comes up with as much as I do on them. And we kind of balance each other out on those. Yeah.
Nice. While you were writing, is there how should I say that? As an author, we often hear you need to have a voice in your book. It's your author voice. Is there, because you are writing in this way that you just described, is there a way for readers to recognize whose voice is speaking? Is it Dawn? Is it Rachel? Or is that too global?
I don't think that they can tell until we tell them. They can guess.
Yes.
Because they didn't realize that I was writing the villain.
Okay.
Yeah. And they didn't realize I write Dante and Sebastian. So
Okay. So they might discover that there are two voices, but not who's who, unless you tell them. Okay.
Right.
Now, if it's editing, absolutely, they can tell. Our beta readers, especially because they're writers too, they can tell who's writing because we both have our own tales. There are things that I like to use that are probably grammatically incorrect, and there are things that she likes to use that are grammatically incorrect.
Absolutely.
And
I'm terrible with that.
they know. Like if there's like a run-on sentence, they're like, "Oh, this is Dawn." If there's too much alliteration or too many commas in a place, they're like, "This is Rachel." You know. But as for like voice, I don't know. I don't think so. I guess that we should ask Mama Maggie and Sam. I don't.
Yeah, that would be the one to ask that.
They couldn't tell before. They were kind of, well, whoever's doing this character, you know, when they first started out, whoever's doing this character. And like Dawn said, we switch it up sometimes. So there will be whole paragraphs of Sebastian that I came up with because I know Sebastian so well at this point that I'm like, okay, let me try this. And then I always get her approval. She always gets my approval because, you know, the character's kind of part of us and we want to make sure. But when we get approval, I've left whole paragraphs that I wrote that was Sebastian that they never picked up on that I wrote it instead of her, and vice versa with Cineas, and so
that is great to hear. That's fun. We talked about how your roles are, how your characters are. What is your favorite part of the process of working together? That's a whole different question, but
the very first draft is my favorite because we're just going through, coming up with the emotions and the situations right to begin with.
Because we're not so worried about editing, and we're not so worried about, you know, what would they do this, or how are we gonna tie up this, and we need to have these people in this scene and all of this. We're just having fun at that point. So we're just rolling with everything.
I think I can imagine that's the best part for every author, that first draft, just getting everything out, and after that you can start editing and you can start the perfection process. I mean, we're all perfectionists, let's face it. I can feel that, yes. And if you have the first draft as your favorite part of the process, what is for you the hardest part of working together on such a project?
Oh my God, probably the one right before the last, because she's having to get all the final like edits, and you know, we're having to get everything done on a crunch.
Yeah.
And sometimes, all the time, I'm everywhere because I work a lot, and I have OCD, ADHD, and everything else you want to mix in there. So
nice.
You have to remind me a lot that I have tags I have waiting on me, and I need to get them done now.
That's probably the part that's not even as bad as, to me, because of the way my brain is wired. The the part where I'm taking out repetitive words and doing the polishing is the drag for me. I love when we go back and do, even though it may take a while, like she was talking about, if we find out that there's a scene or two that's missing, or we need to do something more to a scene, that's tough, but to me it's more of a challenge. Whereas the polishing part, where I'm having to go through, take out those repetitive words, it's just so boring. And I hate that. My brain just wants to go to sleep.
Okay. I can imagine that. Yes.
But I have to give her all the credit because she does a lot of the editing. So she does all the editing. So she takes on all that part. So.
Oh wow, that's incredible. And I can imagine. I haven't been through the whole process yet. I'm currently working on my books. But I am a solo writer, and I spar with one of my friends, and I talk about things with her that keep me from moving on. But I am the one who is solely writing my books. Is it, if you look at it from your perspective as co-authors, do you feel it's maybe easier because you write together, so you can already help each other through some obstacles, and also in the process after that with beta readers and with comments that you get? Or is it the same, or is it harder?
I think it's a balance.
Yeah.
There are times when one or the other, either we have health issues, we both have chronic illnesses, family issues, or work issues, or things that just make us not able to work on a project together at that point. And so the other person is, of course, slowed down because the one person can't do it. Like, I've had health issues, she's had health. I mean, it's just, so when you're working with somebody else, you have to take into consideration that part, that it may slow you down. But on the other hand, if you get on a roll, you're batting. It's like tennis. You're hitting the ball back and forth between each other. You can get to a point where you're just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it moves faster. So that's the reason I say it's kind of a balance, because sometimes it's a good, sometimes it's not. But they tend to balance each other out.
Okay. And Dawn, how do you feel about that?
I feel the same. And also, another good part to it, I think, as a perk, is when one of us hit like a writer's block, the other one's there to kind of help.
True.
Like, I know I've gotten to where I'm like, I just don't know what to do with this. And she's like, okay, well, why don't we try this? Or let's change scenes and let's write with some other characters. So we'll go to a completely different scene and we'll write completely different things.
And there have been times we did that and we figured something out. Like, we didn't realize that there was another path from that scene before. And we start working on a different scene and we're like, wait a minute, what if we use this scene, these characters and what's happening here, and we integrate it with the other scene? And so there are times when we go on whole other journeys.
We go down the rabbit holes a lot.
Yeah, we have a character named Largos that did that to us this time. So he has a much bigger part to play in the main series than originally because of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I have my characters do that to me as well, but I mean, that's just me. And I hope in the future that readers will find it fun. But I can imagine that for the two of you, if you see that happening, it's a fun thing that you can talk about, and you can talk about it into the detail. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
We annoy people when we get together. So the first time we got together, gosh, it was 2021 or something right in there.
Mhm.
Like, we've been writing together for 20 years before we actually got to meet face to face.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so we finally get to meet face to face. And here we are up at 3 a.m. in the morning after watching Interview with the Vampire. And we're just talking back and forth. And the other girls that were on the trip with us, my besties, they're all asleep. They're gone. They're like, leave them. And the same thing happened this last time. We started talking, and everybody else kind of just meandered away, or they started playing on their phones and ignoring us, and we were just talking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's wonderful that you can have that connection together, and just keep on going. Awesome. You are writing. You have written this quintet. You are writing in this universe. Do you have any other genres or universes or worlds that you would want to write in, and that you, or maybe already are writing in? I don't know.
We used to write in different worlds together because we started off in the groups, and we wrote fantasy, epic fantasy. We've written sci-fi, fan fiction for Marvel and Firefly, and a mixture. Oh, and DC. Didn't you? Were you?
DC.
You tried.
Yeah.
We tried DC. DC never works in fan fiction for some reason for us.
Okay.
It just doesn't work. But yes, we've written other things. Now in the future, I'm not sure about Dawn. We kind of just really love our characters in this universe together.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a fantasy, 3 sci-fis, and a horror, and a couple of other urban fantasy paranormal romances that I'm working on that's to the side, that's just under my name. So Dawn, are you planning on doing anything solo?
She's trying to prod me into my stories on the side. So I like to write the horror stories. So we'll see.
Okay. Interesting. That's great to hear. I have to be honest, I write fantasy and I don't see myself writing anything else. But in the past I've written fan fiction for a series like NCIS, but also Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so that's really more urban fantasy.
Favorites!
And yes! and I think I even worked on a combo of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and Charmed at some point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, no.
That's I mean decades ago, so yeah. But back then, yeah, I wrote in different genres, but now I'm really into this fantasy genre and I love it. And I have this universe, currently only one planet, but yeah, I love it, just like you guys. Would you say this is your forever universe? Let me put it that way, instead of your forever world.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I don't
think anytime soon.
until I can't write. I hope that we can continue to do this because it's, like I said, it's a hobby. It's a relief. I understand that we've made it into a business, but at the same time, I kind of keep that separate, and we still write for fun on the side.
It's kind of our stress relief / therapy.
Yeah. Therapists cost lots of money in the United States. So
we came up with our own therapy.
Excellent.
So.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. If we look at your process and how you guys work together, if someone else, if multiple other authors would like to try out co-authoring a book, a series, a universe, what advice would you like to give them to start out, to keep on continuing, working together, things like that?
Find a balance. I mean, like, Rach does a lot of like I said, she does all the editing. Well, I I build the cultures and I build everything for our races. So I do that balance. I build all the stuff for our characters, backgrounds and races and
Extra world building.
Extra world building, the history, all that, cities, all that. I took that on because she does everything to do with our publishing, our editing, all that. So that's the balance for us. Find a balance. Because if you don't find a balance and one just takes everything on, it's not going to work.
No.
Because,
you know,
people get bitter and negative, and the whole, well, I'm doing everything and you're doing nothing, you know.
And be sure to communicate with any relationship, and don't be afraid to communicate. I feel like it, and I've seen this happen before, if people who are co-authoring something are afraid to communicate with each other because they're either, well, already gotten to the point of being resentful, or they're not sure of each other, maybe they shouldn't do this. You know, it's something that it's not for everybody. And I've also seen authors who are trying to co-author something, and it almost becomes a competition.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And that's not healthy either, because I've seen that crash and burn when people do that.
I can imagine that. Yeah, I mean, it's from what I always imagined as being co-authors, it's something that you do together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way it can work. And you can't be competitors in such a project. Yeah.
Well, and if like, she's one of my best friends, so we work great together because we talk just like best friends.
Yeah.
If you have a friend and you talk to them just like your friend, you can write, because, like we say, if we write something we don't like, we just talk about it.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't like that. We don't do that. Or, hey, that didn't work. You don't hold it back and go, oh, man, I wish you wouldn't have done that, or he wouldn't have done that, and just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I have been guilty of trying too hard on something. And I don't remember the exact situation. You might. But I remember keeping on going with a storyline for a while longer than I really should have before I said something. But it was I just felt like the storyline had its perks. Like I felt like it really had something going on with it. But then finally I was like, this just doesn't feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, then maybe you should go back and figure it out. So we did that. We also decided to add something that was a bit controversial to one of the books, and it felt right. Like, that moment felt right because it really set up things that were going to happen in the future that made more sense than what we originally wrote. And but it was controversial, and it was a situation where I was like, I just kept going back and forth, and I kept looking at her going, are you sure? Are you sure? So we finally, it's in there now, so there's no going back on that.
Well, and always support one another and be agreeable with one another.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just say, well, it's going to be this way and we're not going to do it any other way. Find if you got to find a middle ground, if nothing else.
Yeah.
If you can't agree on that one thing, find a middle ground. But always support one another. So
we got each other's back.
Well, speaking of having each other's backs, Dawn, you already hinted at that Rachel does a lot, or does everything for the publishing. You are co-authors. You publish the books. How does that work in promotion online and also in real life events. I know that you had some events going on where you both were and single, I think, also, or solo, I mean. How does it work, for example, when you can't be together at an event and people start asking questions that are not related to either Rachel or Dawn, but the person who's not there?
I trust her, so I know that if they ask something about me, I know she's going to tell them. So, and I'm
vice versa. Yeah. If she's at somewhere and she's promoting the books, then and they get asked something about me, then she knows what to say, and because we've known each other for so long. So, and we know what we're open about and what we're not open about, what's off limits and stuff, you know.
I can imagine that makes a huge difference. The fact that you've been working together for decades already, and that you are true friends, that really helps. Yeah, I can imagine that. And how is it when you are at an event together? How do you divide the time and also make sure that the other one gets a rest or gets something to eat or to drink? I mean, it's just these very practical things.
Well, this last time was their vacation, so it was more like they got to come and hang out and help out, but it was more like I was making sure that they were enjoying themselves on vacation. But if I needed anything, she was like, let me go get it, let me go, get this, or let me go get that and stuff. And if I needed to go somewhere, either my husband was there or her husband was there or she was there, and it just kind of flowed. Yeah. so that wasn't, it's just, I don't know, it's just like we don't designate anything. We just show up and do it.
Awesome.
I think the last time when we were at the Renaissance festivals, there was, 2 years in a row there that we did the Renaissance Festival?
Not 3 years.
And then this one was at Festival of Legends. So yeah, those times were more, I think that we really, really like half the situation. Like she was there half the time, I was there half the time, but it was, or we were both together. And it was, again, we didn't plan it. It was just, we do that for each other. So
nice.
Yeah, it was like, hey, do you need a break? You want to go walk around? I've got this.
Mm-hmm.
Go hang out, or check out things.
It's become a little different because we've got James's books too now. So my husband writes too. So we decided to create like a press, so to speak, because we needed a press name and everything. And so we created Arcane Realms Press. And so now he's usually hanging out the table too, because he's presenting his stuff. And
nice.
And so I'm like,
we need him and we run off.
Bye. We know enough about each other's stuff that we know the description.
I'm just kidding.
Like that.
Well, that was one thing I wanted to ask. You hinted at the press. You have self-published these books. When did you decide to go for self-publishing, and how was that process for you?
Well, with us, it was because at the time when we talked about publishing, there wasn't everything out that it is now. But we wanted to make sure that we could publish what we wanted to publish. Mm-hmm. And with a lot of people that are out there, or a lot of the publishers out there, they wouldn't publish a lot of the stuff that we write.
Okay.
And they want to edit everything. They want to cut a lot of the stuff out. And we didn't want that. We wanted to keep what we wanted in, and we wanted to have full control over what stayed in our books. Mm-mm. So that was a lot of it.
Okay. Totally understandable. Yeah. That's also one of the reasons why I am looking at self-publishing instead of going the traditional route. Because I have this vision, and yeah, I hope to complete that one day.
When I went to Gen Con several times, and one of those times was when indie publishing was starting to take off. And I was still of the mind that we needed to do traditional publishing, but like Don said, our subject matter wasn't exactly being welcomed with open arms at the time, because there's LGBTQ and there's also different types of relationships in our books. So even though you can get away with lots of violence and stuff in books, that kind of stuff, people were just like, oh, I don't know. There's like gatekeepers and stuff in traditional publishing. And so I went to one of Tracy Hickman's platforms, one of his talks at Gen Con, and he was immediately talking about indie publishing, because he and his wife had written a fantasy book that nobody wanted, even though he was established as a fantasy author with Margaret Weiss. And but he and his wife couldn't get their story published, so they went with indie. And he like went down everything he did from the get-go, like making a newsletter, making sure people understood that this was about this subject matter, making sure that people who were on the newsletter got snippets and samples of their story, and keeping them in the loop. And then at the end of it, when everything was finished, he planned on publishing the book himself and then letting them order it. And it was back when Kickstarter, I mean, it was like everything, like, crowdfunding was new. So he was basically describing that. And that's how he got that book published, was he started it that way. And then his publisher came back to him and said, we may have made a mistake. Maybe we would like to get that from you. And so that encouraged me further into the indie publishing sphere, because this is a traditional author that was telling people how to indie publish.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's wonderful if you have, if you can lean on examples like that, or like him, I should say, to get yourself going on the path which is best for you personal. And in your case, in the case of you both, which is best for the both of you, for the future and for your books and how everything works. So yeah, that's awesome to hear. I read the bios, both your bios on Rachel's site, and I had a few questions. Nothing bad, just things that pique my interest. Rachel, I will start with you, and this is because I'm also a gamer. What is the game that you currently play the most?
Ark Survival Ascended.
Okay. I've heard about Ark. I haven't played it yet. But I've heard things about that.
That's our game.
That's our game. We get in the Discord together, and with her daughter, and then our other gamer friends, including sometimes my kids, because that's how I got into gaming, was my kids.
Okay.
Sometimes my grandson.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with a game that lets you tame dinosaurs and mythical creatures so that you can ride them and have fun and do survival.
I build a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. It's a building game, so you get to get creative with building.
Awesome. I still have it on my wish list, so I'm looking forward to playing that someday. So, Dawn, what is your most remarkable historic secret that you explored?
Most remarkable historic secret. We went through a cavern up near Marble Falls that used to be an underground, what do you want to call it? Bar, distillery, when alcohol was illegal. So it still had the wooden floor where they would have the dances and stuff. And above it had a trap door where people would come down. and they would drink their alcohol and dance. So that was pretty neat, to see that.
Awesome.
And the cavern was big enough to drive 18-wheelers through. It was huge. So
Serious?
interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. Incredible. Okay, so maybe this is the next question, maybe also for the both of you. Since Dawn, you also say that you're playing games. What is a game you are looking forward to playing that you haven't played yet?
I don't know that I have one, because, we play Ark a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other games I play are Diablo and Fallout. And yeah, I play those. So I don't really have one that I'm looking forward to.
I've gotten used to
forward
it.
to expansions.
Yeah, the
So-
expansions for Ark, because we've gotten into it so much that we look for different maps and different DLCs instead of moving on to a different game. So it's kind of been like that. I also used to play Dead by Daylight, but I can't anymore. I mean, I can, but I'm not good at it anymore. It's a horror-based game, and you have to be quick, and it's real time action. And since the problem with my eye, I can't see very well on the screen, so I feel like I'm their problem instead of their solution.
Yeah, I can imagine that's not handy. Yeah, I can see that.
It's a team game, so.
Which is why I'm a lot of entertainment for, because I do a lot of taming, and she gets a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
So,
There's lots of death involved.
Okay, excellent. Dawn, getting back to you and to the historic secrets. What is the funniest one you have explored?
Oh, the funniest one.
I mean, there is the stuff that we did for research for Sebastian in Paris in 1820. What is available?
Okay, tell me more about that. You got me curious.
She had described things, because Sebastian's into BDSM, and there were specific implements that she had written about, and I looked at her and I was like, so do we know those were available in 1820? So our search history is probably pretty fun.
Yeah, because there's nothing like looking up BDSM equipment for 1800s. Yeah, let's just say Rach and I have a deal that whoever dies first, the other one has to clear our search bars. Our search history.
Awesome. And is there anything in that research that you intentionally did not include in the books for whatever reason?
Let me see. In that history, was there? I'm trying to think.
I can't think
I don't
of
think
anything.
so. I think pretty much everything that was in that scene or those scenes was in the history. So nothing made it to the cutting room floor. Because he's a pretty perverse individual, so.
Okay.
Also, our bestseller book is The Vampire's Dragon. So.
And everybody was looking for it when it first came out. That was the insane one. When it first came out, Rachel had it on the banner, and we were at the Ren Fair. Everybody came up asking for that book, but we didn't have it printed yet. We were waiting for it to come in, but it didn't make it. So we were having to tell everybody we didn't have it in, actual print yet. Oh, they were so upset.
Never, learn from us. Never put something on a banner until you have it.
Okay.
Every
So
single
you
person
can actually
that walked
hand it to them.
Yes.
they wanted that book that day.
Okay.
And they were so mad.
Got it. Understand. I'll keep that in mind. Yes, yes. So another question for you both. Which game will you never play again, and why?
Oh my God, Counter-Strike. My husband was so obsessed with that game.
Mm-hmm.
He played it nonstop. And I told him if he ever picked up that game again, we'd be divorced.
We didn't have that problem, but I tried it, and people on there.
Shooter. Oh my God, I can't do them. So I was like, I tried them, and I'm like, oh nope, that's not for me. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, everybody has his or her favorite games, and games you would never try. Yeah. You will never see me in a horror game, for example. That's not my cup of tea. But,
I don't think I could ever do anything like Subnautica because I don't like open ocean.
Oh,
and that game is based on that.
Yeah, true.
So.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, 2 friends of mine also have they have a fear of the oceans, and they both started playing Subnautica 2, and they're doing quite well. I have to say.
Yeah, it's tough to get over that fear, even if it's a video game.
Okay, yeah, I was surprised, but they're doing quite well. Yeah. And I started it, and I've died so many times in that game, and you get reprinted, that's what they call it, so I just have a lot of fun. And I just ignore the fact that I am, 30 feet under the ocean.
Well, it took me a while in Ark to start doing stuff in the ocean, because Ark has oceans too, so.
Okay.
It took me a while to be able to do it. And we have a friend of ours who games with us, and she has arachnophobia, so she can't do some of the stuff in Ark because there are spiders. There are giant spiders. So she's like, that's not me. Not gonna do that. So she's like, we need this artifact. Y'all have fun. because that means you got to go into a cave, and I'm not going into the cave. No,
not with the spiders.
Time.
But don't they have a setting that transforms that spider into, some weird puppet or something?
No, not that we found so far. Now on Conan Exiles, which is another building / survival game that I play, they do have a mod that changes spiders into scorpions, which to me, I'm like, that's not much of a difference. But to somebody with arachnophobia, actually, it is. Like, she's fine with that.
Yeah, I play Enshrouded. I think it's that game that they have that arachnophobia setting.
Oh, and cool.
I think it's Enshrouded, or it's another game. And they turn the spiders into snowman puppets. So that's like, who doesn't like snowmans? So yeah.
You haven't played Dead by Daylight. The snowman in Dead by Daylight are bad.
Okay. Got it.
I'll keep the spiders. It's okay. I'm okay with the spiders. It's all right. Okay.
Yeah. I don't mind the spiders. I'll just use my wand from a distance, and that's fine. That's fine.
They want me to do Alien Isolation, but in VR, and I refuse because no, I don't want to get that scared. But that's my family for you. The bunch of gamers that want to torture me.
That can happen.
No. I think I would probably be frozen. My character would just be frozen behind something. No. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Dawn, one last question about the historic secrets. We talked about the most remarkable one, the funniest one. What is the saddest one, if you found that?
I think the saddest one was probably the 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 hospital, like the hospitals, the vacant hospitals, because you go in there and it's just, you know, that people have lost their lives, and there's so much that's gone on in there. And especially when you go into the children's area or the delivery area, and you know what's going on, but you have to do the research because, like, a lot of our people are medical, and I look into the buildings because I use the layouts for some of our stuff. So I look at some of these buildings for the layouts, so I have an idea for our writing to use.
Yeah.
And so, but it is, you know, because you think, wow, you know,
Some of the things
kind
that
of
these
sad.
people were put through too, that now they would probably be gone. They would have been given therapy or, you know, something. But back in those days, what, they were lobotomized or they were medicated to the point that they didn't have a chance. Things like that. Sad.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's sad indeed. Yes, and it's. I mean, we, as a human race, as humanity, we have evolved, luckily, from that. But yeah, things are not always, have not always been easy. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I have two questions as a sort of closure. One comes from Marie Mullaney, who I interviewed as a first author. I had to think. She was the first one. And one is for another guest author. Marie's question was, what does magic represent in your world? Is it wish fulfillment? Is it power? Is it the power of the oppressed? And what is the purpose of magic in your world?
Well, it depends because we have two different worlds that we write for. So
Okay.
if it's Ordia, which is the opposite world, they use it for everything. Magic
Okay.
pretty much runs the world. They use it for electricity. They use it for magical energy. They use it for everything. But not everybody can use magic because there's human, which is like the lowest on the totem pole, that pretty much doesn't have magic. And Lycan, the only ones really that Lycan have are the shamans, but pretty much everything above that use magic, but it's more a power generator.
Okay.
But on the Gaia side, which kind of operates like Earth, it's very limited. They don't have as much magic because it's kind of decreased. And so the ones that do have access to it don't use it as much. And they're very limited on what they use because
Okay.
humans kind of run this world and they hide from humans. They don't want humans to know they exist. So they work everything underneath, you know, outside. They kind of hide everything from humans. And the less humans know about them, the better. So humans are on the top of the chain in Gaia, where on Ordia, they're at the bottom of the chain, which is kind of odd.
Yeah, that's quite the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, the energy. I always try to see magic as energy, even if it's on, no matter which side it's on. In a dragon's purview, it's energy, and it's a type of energy that's connected to the soul of every creature. Not everybody sees it that way, but that's the way that they see it. And in some cases, the way that some Lycans see it, I believe Ava sees it that way too, which is one of the main characters that is a wolf Lycan. And she, so yeah, it's like that, the energy that's all around, and why it makes it sad for our world, Gaia, which is like our modern world, in the fact that it's not here as much, is because they see it that way, that they see it as a lot of soul has left this world because that energy is no longer something that's readily available. They have to pull it from other things to use it. Whereas in Ordia, it's everywhere, and it's something that a lot of people can use comparatively. So, and it also goes. I think this is something that I don't know if we brought it up before to each other, but it goes toward the it goes toward the treatment of humans, because in Ordia they don't have any magic whatsoever. Well, in both worlds, humans don't usually have magic whatsoever. It takes a special type of human that can do anything with magic, and they're very few and far between. And so the people of Ordia look down on humans because of that. And in Gaia, people are afraid of humans, or they kind of look down on humans because, again, they don't have that magic. They don't have the energy.
Okay. Interesting. I would like to ask you if you have a question for Brett, the Foggy author, if you don't know, of the Time Clone series, and for our next guest author, who we don't know yet.
So you want me to come up with a question?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, put me on the spot. Gosh, I really like that magic question. Let's see. So how important are the cultures in your world versus just the regular idea of society? Do you go in depth in culture? How did you come up with the cultures in your world, I guess, is the best way to put that. In our worlds, culture, each species type has a very different culture. They have a very different ethics, morals, traditions, and that is one of, unfortunately, Dawn's not right here. Oh, there she is. So Dawn is one of the main ones. I came up with most of the dragon stuff, but when it came to all the other cultures, it was mostly Dawn that came up with the way that they handle things, their traditions, their morals and ethics, and everything. So that's why we just think it's very important for each culture to have individuality. And so I guess that would be my question to the next author, or even to Brett, is how did you decide to create your cultures? How did you come up with those?
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Dawn, do you happen to also have a question, or is that enough for you?
No, that's good for me.
Okay, perfect. Well, ladies, in that case, I'm all out of questions. Is there something of which either one of you or both of you feel that we didn't yet touch upon and that you would like to share with our audience?
I can't think of anything.
I can't think of anything. I don't do very well on the spot.
I mean, you kind of covered everything.
You did really.
So,
Excellent. That's great. In that case, ladies, thank you so much for the interview. I love having you both on the show. And I'm very much looking forward to everything you do in the future. And yeah, it was so great to have you guys here and to have your books featured earlier on in the show. So yeah, awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thank
you're
you
welcome.
it was fun. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.
Do you have an upcoming or ongoing writing event, book release, or crowdfunding campaign for a book release? Or did you recently release a book? Be sure to fill out the form in the show notes below and we might feature it. The next edition of our show is around June
13th. If you'd like your news to be featured in that show, submit it at the latest on Sunday, June 7th. Hannah and I want to thank Rachel and Dawn for their interview and Jenny for giving us the news about her book release. Be sure to like and subscribe to our show because our next interview will be with Jenny. We wish you a wonderful week with all of these live streams and we will see you in the next one.